If you could go back in time and buy oil before the world relied on it, would you? Of course you would. Anyone would. So why aren't you buying silver right now? The people who recognized oil early did not just make money, they got ahead of the biggest economic shift in history. And today, a similar opportunity is unfolding right now before your eyes with silver. Silver is more than a precious metal. It's a critical resource used in solar panels, electric vehicles, defense systems, AI infrastructure, and the massive data centers powered by our digital world. While demands keep growing, it's still affordable enough that the average American can start accumulating it right now. That's why our investors are turning to silver to protect against inflation and own the world's most important strategic resources. Don't be the person who looks back in 10 years and says, I saw it coming and I just didn't act. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com or TRUreportinggold.com and learn how easy it is to own physical silver. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. Contact them at 877-646-5347 for a retirement plan, IRAs, whatever you need. Own the metal the future depends on. Now, back to the show. What's up, everybody? Sorry about yesterday. Had the in-laws come in. I posted on YouTube out there. Made a post. Pull that back a little bit. Bit of Reno. Here we go. How are you? Yeah, I had the in-laws come in yesterday, so I was not able to do a show yesterday. It kind of went overtime, so that's okay. We're here today, 4 or 5 days a week. From here on out. Curious Cat, thank you so much for the cookie. Ready for war, ... I hope not. I am not a fan of war at all. If you have not watched the latest Tucker Carlson video, I suggest you do. I don't know who's writing for him or if he's the writer. He makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And a lot of people don't like him because he is against... He just does not like what the Trump administration has done. Being led around by our noses. I don't like it. Almost like the carrot in front of the donkey. President Trump, I have stated before yesterday, or excuse me, 2 days ago, saying that, yeah, you know, when it comes to President Trump, you know, there's always a secret behind every door. I don't know if he's playing the role, and I pray to God that he is not being led around by Israel. That is what I hope. But we are all here together. If you're on YouTube, Rumble, or Pilled, help out the show with Rumble Rants, Gold Pills, and Super Chats. Share the stream, hit the like button, all that kind of stuff. Please hit the like button. I can see every time who hits the like button, so I know who my friends are. I like that. FRENS. I appreciate that. Trump one says, nope on Tucker on my opinion. I get it. I know where you're coming from. I've felt that way. I've gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But either way, we're here together, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic 18th of June. Father's Day this weekend. So get stoked on that, fam. Let's go ahead and get into it. Bring everybody up to speed. This is insane. Not yet, but we're going to be getting there. Alleged ringleader behind the drone attack plot for the White House UFC event ID'd as, you guessed it, an illegal immigrant. Wow. Unbelievable. Could anybody have seen that coming? The alleged ringleader of the explosive drone attack at the UFC event at the White House is an illegal immigrant from Mexico. The Department of Homeland Security said Thursday Abraham Alvarez, 31, came to the U.S., and look at how smug his picture is, came to the U.S. as a child and failed to leave the country when his B-2 visa expired in 2001, but was granted deportation relief under the Obama administration. So they kept him in this country. Through the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, the DACA program, the dreamers, they're dreamers. They're dreaming of taking out 4,300 Americans plus, 80,000 outside of that? Yeah, so with drone strikes. So again, that is out there, and you can see the title of today's show for sure, which, guys, I mean, it's all out there that we need to be paying attention to. And it's not that one. Maybe it's this one. First, God dang it. First, it was the UFC. Now we're talking about the World Cup. We're talking about drone strikes. We're talking about all this. Head on a swivel, folks. That is where we are at. So you can see the smug look on this guy's face. Kept inside under the Dreamer Act. Oh, Alvarez was one of the 5 alleged co-conspirators in the scheme to kill President Trump and other top government officials at the combat sports spectacle held late Sunday on the White House South Lawn, attended by thousands of fighting fans. Not only are you taking out the president, you're taking out so many others, and this is the face that you make right there. That's the face that you make when you were planning it. This person is a psychopath, so just understand that. So, again, the plotters allegedly wanted to attack the UFC Freedom UFC event 250 with an explosive-laden drones and then pick off fleeing members of the crowd with a team of snipers. This is absolutely disgusting, absolutely terrifying. And we had the New York Knicks parade. I don't think anything happened there. It's just a matter of time. We have got to get the U.S. government, the FBI, whatever it may be, U.S. Marshals, I don't care, have got to get their hands on these people because people are not keeping their head on a swivel. That's the problem. People are not aware. They get into these big groups, whether it's a parade, whether it's a sporting event, or church, it does not matter. Everyone should keep their head on a swivel, and that's the country I don't want to live in. I want to be protected, and I don't feel protected, and I hope you guys don't either. You should not feel that way. You understand what I'm saying? We don't feel protected, and we should feel protected. Judy the Lady Pug, thank you so much for the cookie. I appreciate that. So, again, authorities told the outlet that Alvarez was responsible for the planning of all this, organizing and directing the coordinated attack, which was thwarted by the FBI and local authorities. We talked about this yesterday. He will face justice and swiftly be removed from our country That is coming from Department of Homeland Security Acting Assistant Secretary Lauren Biz. Imagine what this could have been. It could have been absolutely terrible. Those arrested face possible life sentences and a $250,000 fine if convicted of conspiracy to commit murder, with an additional maximum penalty of 5 years in prison for planning to commit an act of violence on the White House grounds. So again, this is where we stand. Where do we stand? Head on a swivel. It is not good. The White House has got to step up. I understand that in quote unquote they thwarted this. That's fine. That's all great and dandy. Nobody got hurt. But it just seems like any gathering of such efforts is under the scope of what in God's name is going to happen. I'm fearful of my fellow Americans, whether it's the World Cup, whether it's a hockey game, whether it's football or, anything. A marathon, a local soccer game. Everyone should have their head on a swivel, and that's the America I do not want to live in by any means necessary, just to let you guys know. So something, this is extremely interesting to me, and it should be very interesting to you as well. So Pennsylvania's historic reform initiative after attempted assassination of the President of the United States. This came out today. Let me know in the chat what you guys in the comments, what you think about this. This is crazy. An act amending Title 16 counties of the Pennsylvania Consolidated Statutes, establishing a mandatory forensic documentation standards, defining prohibited financial conflicts of interest for our county coroners, and prescribing administrations and criminal penalties for violation. The General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania hereby enacts as followed. An act amending Pennsylvania statutes coroner. The chain of custody and documentation. Any coroner or deputy coroner shall maintain complete and accurate chain of custody records for all physical elements and evidence, human remains, and associated samples received or handled in the performance of official duties. What happened to Thomas Crooks? Immediately, the guy was incinerated, put into the earth, no toxicology, nothing. Now they do this. The coroner or deputy coroner shall document all items collected and shall create comprehensive investigative and autopsy documentation covering all aspects of the autopsy and related forensic testing where indicated by the circumstances of death. We didn't get any of that during Butler. Nothing. Again, this is in Pennsylvania. Just understand that, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So again, this is where it will be indicated by the circumstances of death. Such documentation shall include toxicology, ballistic elimination and examination, and other forensic analyses. All records and documentation created under this subsection must be sufficient to support the stated cause and manner of the death for each case within the county. We know nothing about Butler. Zero. Zippo. Nothing. Where are the parents? The FBI covered it up. We know nothing about anything. People died that day. And then you have liberals out there talking about, oh my God, they lowered the flag down. It was the perfect photo shoot. People died that day. This is what's terrifying. They ransacked the house. There's no silverware. There's nothing. We all know these stories. What in God's name? One of the biggest things that will go down in history. Who was tied to that? They threw out some thing. Iran. Iran was looking out for it. I don't know all about that. My gut feeling is telling me that this was MK Ultra. This guy was on SSRIs. This guy was in BlackRock commercials. All of it just seems sketchy to me. Very, very strange. Jack Attack 17, thank you so much for the cookie. Zach from Tennessee with the can. Kind of sad. Y'all got the playbook and still casting shadows on the team, giving you the most freedom of your lives. Ye have little faith, and those with little faith deserve no retribution. Yeah, I know. I want to know what's going on. Are you talking? I have faith in a lot of stuff. I truly do. I believe in this country, but I don't want to live in a country where I'm fearful of psychopaths. But I guess that's just the purgatory that we live in, to be honest. This is nor heaven or hell. I don't know what this realm is. I want to know why a little group of Congress people got together last night and snuck through a bill stating that Mossad of Israel and the CIA with can permanently share information. Yeah, I mean, Warhawks, baby. That's what they do. They hate this country. And it truly shows. It truly shows. So even going back to this, what I was talking about earlier, you could talk about the drones that were going to take out the UFC 250 Freedom. That is there. That's there. That's what took place. He was flying drones. There was no jammers. There was nothing out there. It was literally an open field, ready to let loose, ready to let go. And that's sad. Zach from Tennessee, just fill me in a little bit on that. Those with little faith. I have faith. I truly do. But a lot of this is super sketch. Can we be honest? And now Pennsylvania, after the fact, before President Trump was even president. This is when he was running for re-election. None of that makes sense. And now they're saying, okay, well, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will now look into these things. Just don't go and incinerate the body. Maybe we want to figure out who this kid is. We want to know more of these things. Everything's scrubbed off the internet. We know nothing about him. None of it makes sense. 0 sense. Nathan Davis says, and he almost certainly had support and financial and technical backing to do any of this. If it is what was said, I get it. Traps are complex. Trust the plan. Okay. How are they going to get the drones there with geofencing? I don't know. That's the thing. The jammers. The geofencing, jammers, same difference. Same thing. So, again, how are they going to do that? I have no idea. I have no clue. But that was their plan. Maybe they aren't bright. Maybe these criminals are stupid. Most criminals are. I mean, for God's sakes, they're trying to commit a giant killing spree, which is terrifying. We'll get more into that right now.
Planning to fly your drone at a World Cup match? Think again. Hi, I'm Christopher Rea, and I'm the Co-Deputy Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The government will establish temporary flight restrictions around World Cup stadiums, fan festivals, and other event locations. Flying a drone in these areas is strictly prohibited. Flying in a restricted zone isn't just dangerous, it's a federal crime. Temporary flight restrictions protect fans, players, and critical infrastructure from accidents and security threats. The consequences are serious. Unauthorized drone flights can result in criminal fines up to $100,000, up to a year in prison, and seizure of your drone. Before you fly your drone, always check airspace restrictions using FAA-approved Before You Fly apps or visit tfr.faa.gov. If you spot unsafe drone activity, report it immediately by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. Let's keep the skies and the World Cup safe for everyone.
So there you go. I mean, they're putting out these commercials to call the FBI if you see an illegal drone. First off, it's very hard to hear them. Some of these things are silent. Have you ever flown a drone? If you're flying a drone higher than a pine tree and most of us, let's just be honest, we're on our phones, we're having conversations, we're not really paying attention, we're cutting the grass, we're, in a crowd of people, I don't know. It just seems like this is the new thing that we've all worried about, that the drone technology is caught up to us, where eventually, probably in the next, it's already happening in LA and other places. You could probably do it in your hometown. You probably have to pay a pretty penny, but it's already dropping groceries off. Who's to say that they can't drop anything off at this point? That's what we're catching up to, and I think eventually we're going to catch up to the AI threat as well. Zach from Tennessee says, if you are unsure how to feel about things that transpired, base your emotions off how the boss is acting. I get that, and I understand that. I just want people to be safe. Let me just clarify that. I just really want us to not have to be in panic mode every single day. I don't want to have my head on a swivel. I don't want you to have your head on a swivel. I want us to go day by day to almost feel safe. Is that too much to ask for? Or are we in the times where anything goes? That's what makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. Some of these drones, you could buy a very good drone for $1,000, $2,000 that can pick up and fly anything. Anybody can do it. Yes, you have to register it. Yes, you will be caught. Yes, it will happen. I just think that this is a thing that but I feel like I know that this is going to be a threat from here on out. Drones, not a good thing. So make sure you register them. They're fun. They're cool. But you have sick people out there. Sick people. So again, drone stocks. Invest in drones. Thank you for gifting the cookie. Dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. I get that too, Zach. You're making some really good points. I understand that. Kind of got to go through the mud and the muck to get through to the other side. I get that. Doesn't change the fact that, and I'm not saying that I live in fear every single day, but if I get into a big crowd or a theater or anything like that, I'm looking for exits. Carry a CCW. You know what I mean? Be the hero if you want to be the hero. I think it's strange, BK655 says, I think it's strange that Trump has a MAGA agenda, but pushed very hard with the World Cup. I'm glad outsiders are seeing the real America, but the timing with America's 250th just seems at odds. We're not at odds. I don't think that we're at odds. I think that it's the propaganda machine that is amplifying and making something bigger than it really is. I think the left, the normal left, regular Democrats, yes, they are not very smart. But I don't believe that they're deadly. I don't think that. I think that what you're seeing with all of this is definitely just paid off homeless people, paid off people on SSRIs, MK Ultra, whatever it may be. I think that is what the problem truly is. Didn't help when it came to the trans community, hence what took place in the Coventry Catholic school. Christian school in Nashville. I believe that's where it was. Nashville, Chattanooga. I think it was Nashville. I'm sure we'll see more of that. The shooter with Charlie Kirk, obviously in the Furry Foundation, girlfriend, all that kind of stuff. These people are not normal. I watch a lot of these videos all the time. I used to show them on The Secret Show, but that got flagged, so I can only show them on the pilled side. But a lot of these people that are being arrested that are part of those communities are off their rocker. They're not well at all. A lot of them are teenagers. A lot of them have parents with guns that are conservative, and they just kind of snap. Maybe it's being bullied. Maybe it's the SRIs. Maybe it's whatever it may be. I don't know. But it seems to come a lot from that side, and that makes me very nervous. So just to let you know, as you should be, Zach from Tennessee says, always have a plan. Treat people with respect, but also have a plan to eliminate every threat you see. I totally understand that. I was never in the military. You were. I understand that. CCW can save a ton of lives. It truly can. Judah Ladypug says, drones of the same size or scope require a drone pilot's license, and flight plans are supposed to be filed and approved. Yeah, it's true. You have to sign off on these things. It's literally like getting a gun. Everything that you have on your side of buying a drone is almost the same thing as buying a gun. So just to let you know, going back into what we were talking about just a moment ago, we're going to get into Israel a little bit. This is strange from Steve Bannon. We're about to find out who really controls America. GOP operatives say the Trump-Iran deal is so abhorrent that some GOP senators are talking of the Trump impeachment coming after Dems take Congress in midterms. And the expectation some GOP senators will support Trump's conviction/removal. The GOP Senate anger at DJT is intense. We're about to find out who really controls America. Who controls our Congress? Who controls our Senate? Who controls our politicians, our bankers, our sheriffs, our coroners, our CIA, our three-letter agencies, all of the above. That right there. We're about to find out who really controls America. Says right here, and that's true. It is very true. The World Cup ads and products pushed everywhere is very out of place. What do you mean by that, BK655 over there on BoozTube? Let me know what you think about that. I would really like to know. Just a heads up on that. It says right here, Israel is our only friend in the world. Senator Kennedy defends Israel after Trump G7 slap. Well, this guy's out of my, this guy was always kind of shifty. I know he puts on, he's a character. He has that southern, drawl and all that. And a lot of people like Senator John Kennedy. But he's firing back with an unapologetic defense of America's closest ally. Trump, speaking to reporters as the summit wrapped, blasted Israel's campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon. The president demanded a softer touch, complained that Israel has been fighting too long, and declared too many people have been killed. Let's listen to this really quick.
President, what are the expectations for Israel? Can this deal survive if Israel attacks Lebanon?
It can, and I consider that the minor war. Iran's a big one, but we have that little pinprick out there that constantly rears its head, and that's Hezbollah. And, I was very responsible for Syria, and the man that's running Syria now is a person that I put there along with President Erdogan and some others. He's done an amazing job of pulling it together. He's not a Boy Scout, but he's done an amazing job of pulling it together. And he is very good with Hezbollah, does not like them. And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody.
And we talked about that a couple days ago. He went further, stating bluntly, without us, without the United States, there would be no Israel. We talked about that as well. Without me, there would be no Israel. So again, where does this take us? John Kennedy has this to say from Tennessee, I almost said Los Angeles, from Louisiana.
We find that she's got alien DNA. She's a hybrid.
Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity.
Hello, Senator Kennedy. How are we doing today?
This is Lindsey Graham right here.
Yes, it is.
The smartest man in the Senate. Lindsey.
He said the same about you.
Let me tell you about Lindsey. He
Oh, God.
No, I'm not.
We're the two smartest people.
We're the two. But Lindsey is the Prime Minister of Cool.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
I love that.
Which tells you a lot about cool.
At the G7 summit, President Trump criticized Israel, saying that Israel should be a little more responsible when searching for Hezbollah in Syria and Lebanon. Do you agree with the president?
Well, I don't understand the context, but I'm a big supporter of Israel. And Israel is our friend. Some days I think Israel is our only friend in the world. But Israel is in a little different situation than America. Physically, in America, we're surrounded by friends. Israel is not. Israel is surrounded by people that want to kill them and hurt them the entire time they are dying. And I don't blame Israel for fighting back. I admire and respect Israel for fighting back.
You mean committing genocide? Have you seen the pictures of the Gaza Strip? It literally, and I said this the other day, it literally looks like a nuclear bomb went off. It looks like something that is from a post-apocalyptic movie in the future. Look, it looks like when the Terminators are flying over and John Connor, I believe that's his name, or that's the little kid, but he's a soldier and he comes back from the future to go to the past. That's what Hezbollah, or excuse me, that is what the Gaza Strip looks like. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. For him to be like, they were under attack, they flew in Mario Karts, and, you know, their Iron Dome went down, is just preposterous to me on all fronts. This guy's really letting me down. He's a character. And I know a lot of people like him, but after this, I'm like, come on. This is... And then, hey, this is my boy, Lindsey Graham. Come on in, Lindsey. Come on in. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Nathan Davis. Israel is not our friend. Absolutely not. President Trump has said it. Ted Kennedy, or whatever the hell your name is, John Kennedy, get the hell out of here with your light and the loafers friend.
I think Israel has made the Middle East safer than it's been in 25 years. Now, they had a lot of help from the United States, of course, but it wasn't that long ago that Hezbollah was strong as horseradish. They're not. Israel has put them on their knees. Same thing about Hamas. Same thing about Iran. And so I'm very supportive of Israel. And if there is
he'll still get elected, just like Lindsey Graham. And that's one of my senators. They're all going to be reelected. Because they got money. They got ads. South Carolina, everyone that I talk to, I don't care if you're on the right, hates Lindsey Graham. And somehow he got elected. Keep him in there. Maybe he's a puppet. Maybe that, I don't know if people in South Carolina are that smart. They're not thinking correctly. They're just like, nah, just put him back in there. We're used to the same. Don't change the sheets. Selected, not elected. It's facts. Everything needs to be the same. But everyone I talk to, when I go out, they're just like, yeah, that guy stinks. Fuck him. And I'm like, yeah. But, I mean, Louisiana, you got to do the same thing. These people are bad news, man. Bad news. They're not trying to do us favors at all. You can see right here, speaking on the wars, Iran says the deal to end the war with the U.S. requires Israel to withdraw from Lebanon. Well, that's not going to happen because they want the land. They're not. So this is not going to end. Iran's top, even though they've signed off, President Trump has signed off, that was leaked. All of that stuff is leaked. That they both signed off on this, and this is supposed to take place on Friday. That they both had the same bullet points. We agree. You agree. President Trump signed. Waiting for Iran to sign to get this deal made. This will take place tomorrow. We'll be covering it. Iran's top diplomat said Tuesday, just 2 days ago, that the tentative deal to end the war with the United States will require Israel to withdraw from Lebanon, and conditions Israel has already rejected. Of course they did. They want that land. And that could sink the agreement, leading to the resumption of all-out war. I knew this was going to take forever. The deal, which is between the U.S. and Iran, has not been made public, and officials have sometimes, well, it has been made public now, it was leaked, have sometimes offered contradictory interpretations of what is in it. Well, if you watched Tucker Carlson this morning, which I did, which was an hour and 45 minutes of him reading these things, it was quite interesting. It joined the U.S. in launching strikes on Iran on the February 28th, which is Israel, and has since fought the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group in Lebanon and seized large swaths of that country. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Aragaki said Israel continued occupation of southern Lebanon would violate the deal. They're going to keep doing it unless President Trump has them by the short and curlies. Moving forward with this, the Zionist regime is in absolute panic. Prominent Israeli figures are openly crying about being completely betrayed by Donald Trump. They are literally calling his advisors losers for prioritizing American interests over endless wars. It's a total meltdown. From Jewish Jess. Everyone, and I mean everyone in Israel, feels profound sense of betrayal today. From all across the political spectrum and every walk of life. Everyone.
Feels a profound sense of betrayal today. From all across the political spectrum and from every walk of life. Everyone. History proves, says Michael Oren, the former ambassador to Washington, Israel has no choice but to risk an open confrontation with Trump. An apology from your American Jewish parents ran in the Times of Israel. We are here, among other things, to defend you too. In the end, this is your real home. She's addressing Witkoff and Kushner, whose real home is the United States of America. This is weird. And we are guarding it for you and for your future generations. And you turn your backs on us like this? Simply losers. Unfortunately, she goes, when we were wrong, we became comfortable, and over the past 2 decades, we fell asleep at the wheel.
This isn't a joke.
We missed the signs, and we owe you an apology. Israel was winning war after war, building up its economy, growing in Torah and mitzvot. At the same time, the West, especially America and Europe, was falling into an abyss of immorality and godlessness.
There you go. So, Zach from Tennessee, I sent you something since you don't like Tucker Carlson. That's really funny. Yeah, take some time to look at that. It's only about 30 seconds. I love you, buddy. And I hope you're doing well. I hope the family's doing good. I hope everybody's doing good in the chat. It's BK655. It's so ridiculously pathetic how they act. Yeah, I agree with you. Watch that video, Zach. Tell me if you think it's funny. We got something on here, though. We're about to go into Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson appears to be struggling with the level of 5D chess that President Trump is playing. Here's the clip. Let's take a listen.
very well once said to me 15 years ago, long before he became president, said, in the end, Trump disappoints everyone. Everyone who loves Trump is in the end disappointed, from his ex-wives to his former political allies, you name it, they're all disappointed. And it looks like
what ex-wife is, in a great mood and is not disappointed? That's the reason they're ex-wives. That's lowballing from him. That is being a very far left, low-blowing piece of garbage that he says that. Just ask his ex-wives, they don't like him either. Yeah, no shit, they're his ex-wives. Who cares? He's disappointing. What is that? Is it kind of sexual? Oh, he's disappointing in the bedroom. Oh, he's disappointing as a human being. He's just disappointing. Ask his ex-wives. That's none of our business. Who cares? Just do the right thing. That's lowballing right there. Off the rip. 8 seconds in, off the rip. Lowballing. Watch that video, Zach.
someone who knows Trump very well once said to me 15 years ago, long before he became president, said, in the end, Trump disappoints everyone. Everyone who loves Trump is in the end disappointed, from his ex-wives to his former political allies, you name it, they're all disappointed. And it looks like it's Benjamin Netanyahu's turn to be disappointed. Here's Donald Trump today at the G7 in Europe describing Israel's behavior.
And you'll see that when you see the agreement, but it's appropriate that we release the agreement. And we did send a copy to Israel, by the way. They've been a good partner. Again, I think they could do better with respect to Hezbollah. I'm not saying they shouldn't protect themselves. I'm saying when two drones are shot into the desert and drop harmlessly, you don't have to knock down buildings in Beirut. They could behave better. And frankly, they could do a better job. I love them as a partner. They were terrific, but they could do a much better job with Hezbollah.
Past tense. I love them as a partner. They were great. I loved, ED, past tense, them as a partner. Very interesting.
Down buildings in Beirut. They could behave better. And frankly, they could do a better job. I love them as a partner. They were terrific, but they could do a much better job with Hezbollah.
Wow. Consider that for a moment. And he said a lot of things like that in the last 24 hours. But just in that statement, he said, by the way, we sent Israel a copy of the agreement. Oh, you sent them a copy, did you? You BCC'd them? Didn't consult Israel. They're a participant. They're our partner in this war. This is a joint war we are waging with the government of Israel somehow. First time in American history that's ever happened. Not a good idea, by the way. Note to self, don't do that again. But as of right now, we were waging a war with Israel, and we just reached the outline of a peace agreement with the country we are fighting with Israel without consulting Israel. We sent them a copy. Bitch. That's exactly what that means. Adults are talking. That's exactly what Trump is saying to Israel. Then he goes on to say, yeah, I mean, I think what they're doing, and I understand you got to defend yourself and everything, but like, it's brutal what they're doing. It's brutal what they're doing in Beirut, in Lebanon, blowing up apartment buildings. At one point, not in that clip, but in another from yesterday, he said, I just think it's just too much. It's just too much. I think going forward, we may leave the fight against Hezbollah to, Jelani, who runs Syria. He's a good guy. Let him handle it. He'll do it in a more measured way. Now, Jelani, of course, is a former Al-Qaeda leader.
This is very interesting. Yeah, Nathan Davis. Boomer conservatives are exiting the stage. ... Sadly. Yeah, they're all dying. And my mom is one of them. Gen Z has no particular fondness for Israel. No, Gen Z does not care about any of this. They're all about, a lot of them are just about maxing. If you know what that is, look it up. What's maxing? That's what they're into. being jacked, not drinking, not doing drugs, just being in super good shape, playing video games, and then coming to the realization that I'm not going to be a streamer. I'm going to actually live in my parents' basement. And or get a bunch of roommates, do stand-up comedy, get a bunch of roommates, work as a waiter or a waitress, or get a bunch of roommates and do OnlyFans. That's about all that's out there, to be honest. Because nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to try. That's where we're at. I'm going to be a video editor, okay? Well, how are you going to do that? Well, I didn't do really well in school. Well, guess what? We're going to be a video editor for a podcast? What are you going to be, creating movies? Like, this is like a shot in the dark if you get a job. It's so random and shallow. Really is. I'm not saying go work in, the mines of Colorado or Nevada or New Mexico. You don't have to go and do that. But, when President Trump in his first term was just like, go get trade jobs. Go do those things. You'll make money. Get a CDL. Be a pipe fitter. Whatever you need to do. You can make $130,000 a year. Great benefits. Retire early. Those sorts of things. I'm too old. At 41. Sorry, I got an eyelash on my eye. Does that make me gay? My eyes bother me. But again, yeah, it's just kind of like, what do? You could be a YouTuber. You could be a video editor. You could start a stream playing video games. I don't know what people think. I think it's just going to come down to the parents are going to have to take care of them, which millennials are already broke. They're broke. Boomers had it the best. And when it comes to my parent, extremely selfish. Given everything, they had a $50,000 home. That is now worth, I don't know, $400,000. Could you ever be so lucky in this day and age? Could you ever be so lucky? House is paid off 20 years ago. That's what happened with my parents. My dad's passed. But that's a real thing. It's crazy to think about that they were like, oh, okay, things are fine. Cars are paid off. House is paid off. And by the way, did not come from money. We were middle class, just normal middle class. I went to good schools. We were in a good school districting, all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, everything worked out fine. But when it comes to people that are millennials, my God, what a struggle. Maybe you have good parents. Maybe you have great parents that are still alive. I still have my granddaddy, which is great. Just wrote a pretty big check to my son to put in the bank. I don't know any of us that could write a pretty big check to put in the bank for a grandson. And sadly, not sadly, but if you're Mexican or black, you're going to have a grandson or granddaughter. You love that, don't you? People had a better work ethic back then. Well, they were forced to. That's the thing. That's where it stood. There are times where I'm just kind of like, my mom, especially going through what she's been through, is one of the most. She can be very selfish with a lot of stuff, and rightfully so. That's how she was brought up. I was never handed anything. How many of you were? Were you handed stuff? I wasn't. I had a job at 15, 16 as a waiter. I was a waiter. I found a long-term girlfriend, got engaged, and then got a CDL. Worked more. Then I started doing this. You know? But for, I don't know, 15 years, work. I don't think those jobs are out there right now. I really don't. First timekeeper says, you know Tucker is lying when he starts laughing. Is that a tell? Is that his poker tell? Darla L, thank you for the can. Sorry, Thomas, about everything you're going through. My notifications were off for some reason. Prayers up. Turn those notifications on. Facts. Thank you for that.
Is running Syria, really in thanks to Israeli pressure, because Assad, who is literally a practicing medical physician educated in Britain, he's just too radical, meaning too anti-Israel. So we have to have the former Al-Qaeda leader, Al-Qaeda, which they told us did 9/11. I don't know if you remember that. Remember those 19 Arabs with box cutters who killed 3,000 Americans? That was the story anyway. One of those guys is now our ally in Syria. And by the way, that guy, the former Al-Qaeda leader, he's just a more reasonable person. He's just more humane than Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, I like them all. They're all good guys. But really, if you're looking for humane treatment of civilians, you got to go to the Al-Qaeda guy, not the Israeli prime minister. That's what the president said. It's unbelievable. If I said that, which I don't know if I would say that. Is that true? I don't even know. I have maybe less faith in former Al-Qaeda leaders than the president does. But if I said that, it'd be anti-Semitism. What are you saying? Well, Trump is saying that the Israelis are such inhumane savages who do not consider non-Israeli life fully human. That's true, by the way, obviously. That we're going to trust the Al-Qaeda guy.
Leave it at that. So is President Trump wrong on that? Or is Tucker speaking the truth with that last point? I think he is. They genocided women and children. President Trump now talks about it. Why would you bomb apartment complexes with women and children? They're not doing anything. There's whatever. But there's tunnels underneath those hospitals. There's tunnels underneath those houses. There's tunnels underneath those hospitals and hotels. Okay, sure. It's probably true. Could be. So just detonate the whole fucking thing? That's not how it's supposed to work. So maybe Tucker has a point there. Tucker appears to be struggling with the level of 5D chess that President Trump is playing. I think Tucker makes a good point there, to be honest. Can you even imagine this? The Prime Minister of Great Britain, Keir Starmer, implicated in gang grape with a G, cover-up, 13,000 suspected grape, the color and the taste, members were only sent warning letters. As Peter Mikolvina reported earlier, the 219-page inquiry report released on June 16, 2026, 2 days ago, was led to restore MP Rupert Lowe and survivor advocate Sammy Woodhouse. Funded by more than 20,000 British supporters, this investigation reveals a major failure in child protection. It documents systematically of grouping, excuse me, I have grape on the mind. Grooming, grape, trafficking, and abuse of at least 250,000 vulnerable white British girls by mostly Muslim Pakistani gangs throughout the UK. The report remains, and the findings are clear, organization groups with 87 to 90% of convicted offenders have Muslim names. This is what happens. This is what takes place. What are you going to do? You have no guns. You have no weaponry. You have nothing. You just take it. Trump won. Thank you for the cookie. Appreciate it. This is the Prime Minister of the UK allowing this to happen. Now he's implicated. He should be thrown in jail for 10 to life. What a piece of garbage. Wow. Could you imagine living over there? That would be terrible. In other news, Missouri AG Catherine Hanaway gives MLB until June 25th to confirm no punishment for players who refuse pride paraphernalia or added scripture, or she will open a full investigation to religious liberty violations. As you can see right here, Genesis, I think that's 9, 12, 16. Over the hat that this gentleman is wearing for the San Francisco Giants. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is drawing a line in the sand against the Major League Baseball apparent effort to pressure players into confronting to left-wing Pride Month activism. It's good. I like that. And she should. They were mandated rainbow-themed caps, but boldly wrote Genesis 9, 12, 16 on them. Oh, I had it right. When asked about it, San Francisco Giant pitcher Landon Roop said the verse is about God's covenant and a promise that he makes to us, and he gets punished for that. The only people that ever get punished in this world 100% are Christians. Why is it always that? Why does it have to always be Christians being punished for their beliefs? Because these people are Satanists. That's what it is. That's what it is. And it will remain that way until something changes. Sickening. I'll show you this too. More good news. We got a lady out there standing up for everyone's rights. I like that. Oh my God, this is awesome. RFK Jr. says the big beautiful bill includes $75 per month of healthcare program where you can get a concierge, a doctor who's available 24/7, no bills, no insurance claims. It's going to be like old style healthcare. Let's take a listen.
Bill. Tell us what the impact is on HHS for you.
Oh, it's going to open. It's going to help us do what we need to do with healthcare in this country, which is to improve the quality of our healthcare and lower the cost, and give Americans more choice. One of the things that it does, it allows health savings accounts, which are very popular with the American people. that you can put pre-tax money aside to pay for certain things that are relevant to healthcare. For example, gym memberships will be paid for. For $75 a month, under this bill, you'll be able to get a concierge doctor who is available 24 hours a day, every day of the week, every day of the year. And you'll be able, and you won't get a bill for it. You won't have to file insurance claims. It's just like old style healthcare, but it's for $75 a month. We're also going to allow the creation of on-site medical centers by employers at factories, at workplaces where workers can get treated for free. So somebody won't have to leave work for 4 or 5 hours to get a medical checkup. They'll be able to do that on site. There are many, many other really great things in this bill that
very
we need to get
interesting.
it passed.
We look forward.
She just cuts him off right there. That's crazy. RFK Jr. on point with a lot of stuff that he's done. We're closer to the golden age. Just don't know how close we are. LOL. I exactly. There's no way to figure this out. You keep watching, you keep learning, you keep your discernment. Do not let anybody else tell you how to think, feel, what to say. None of that. Keep your discernment on your shoulder, just like your heart. It will help. I want to thank everybody hanging out, chilling. Big shout out to our friends, especially Zach from Tennessee. Thank you, brother, for all the help and support. We love you, buddy. We need to have a conversation soon if you're still online right now. If we can get 2,000 gold pills, that would be great. Hit up the gold pills. We're at 1,700. Can somebody drop a can and a cookie? Let's get to even 2,000. Let's do it. Let's do it. I love you guys very much. I'm glad we were able to hang out here today. And I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. and hang out with you guys. So get stoked on that. Watch out for drones. Watch out for everything included. Thank you guys so much. Jack Attack 17 with the cookie, Hog Leg 71 with the can, Darla L with the can. Thank you, Thomas. No, thank each and every one of you. 4 to 5 days a week. We love you guys very much, and I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Share the stream, like the stream, do everything. We love you. Peace.